If you'd like to see more of our videos, hit the subscribe button to stay on top of the market news. Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Razak at CMtrading. Today is June 16, 2020, and today is Tuesday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, once again, it's the Dow Jones rebounding after a roller coaster ride. We went from 27,400 on June 9th, which is only a week ago, down to 24,900-ish level, and then rebounding yesterday. But let's take a look at the economic highlights of the day. So looking at the economic highlights of the day, there are a few items on the list today, starting out at 8 a.m. South African time. Claim and count coming out of the United Kingdom. And then at 2:30 South African time, monthly retail sales out of the United States. And most important event of the day, Fed Chairman Powell testifies in front of Congress in relation to his interest rate decision last week. This is a really important situation, especially since the last time he spoke, the markets tanked over 2,000 points. So really, you do want to know this event is coming out and be aware of it. Now, looking at the markets, we're watching the dollar getting weaker across the board because the Dow Jones is getting stronger, right? So that's exactly what's happening. We saw the Dow Jones bounce over 1,000 points before this Powell testimony later today. Now, looking at the commodities, gold and oil both rebound, still relatively strong. And lastly, looking at the stocks, it's Apple that remains the strongest stock, at least for now, and which is charging the markets higher. But let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So we're jumping into a weekly chart of the Euro USD. You can see we're trading right now at that 113.60-ish level, hitting that resistance-ish level. Now, this is an important level for us to be at, especially if you don't break above it, okay? So you want to know that we're holding at this area. Now, between the two major currencies versus the dollar, the GBP actually was the one that took it higher from 124 up to 126, over 200 pips over the last couple of days, not even since yesterday. Amazing little rally for the GBP versus the USD. Now, this is systemic because we're watching the dollar getting weaker across the board. Now, looking at the USD Rand, also getting that 117-ish level down from that 17.26. And lastly, looking at the Canadian dollar, also retracing just a little bit. So, the severity of the correction versus the dollar is dependent on the counter currency, the strength of the counter currency. So far, the GBP has been the strongest versus the USD in that little rally. So what that means is that the next time the dollar actually gets stronger, then I expect some of the ones that didn't strengthen versus the dollar, like the USD CAD, like the USD ZAR, to be weaker and to actually not rebound as strong versus the dollar. So it's an important note for the next time the dollar actually gets stronger, okay, and these currencies getting weaker. Now, looking at gold, it's trading right now at 17.26. When we're in that mid-range, okay, we're at that upper mid-range where we still have this resistance at 17.41. Until that gets broken out, I don't think we're going to go anywhere. Okay, we're still trading within this very tight range between the 1700 and 1741. Now, we're smack in the middle of that. Now, this is not really such a tight range if you think about it. I mean, an intraday to trade 20 points on the gold is a pretty decent day. Now, looking at oil, we're looking at it trading at $37 a barrel. A nice little rebound from that $34 low. And so it's also really trading within that range. The upper limit, obviously, $40 a barrel. Now, looking at the price of the Dow Jones, this is what we're looking at right now, 26,091, a massive little rally. This is almost half of our previous rally there. Okay, so now setting up this Fibonacci retracement, we do have a support level at that 25,900-ish level as this is capitulating at this area. It's selling off a little bit at 26,000. Now, remember, Powell is speaking today. He's going to add whatever he's going to add, but that's something that we have to really, consider going into today's trading, okay? Because if he does add a little dumper onto the markets, a little negative news, I could expect this going back to 24,400-ish levels. So amazing trading volume and volatility in the Dow Jones continue. Now, looking at the individual stocks, Apple remained pretty strong yesterday to 341, rallying throughout the day. Now, looking at Amazon, not as strong. Looking at Microsoft, not as strong. Looking at Facebook, not as strong. So it's really Apple that's carrying us higher in the markets. Now, looking at more of the classical stocks like JP Morgan, it bumped, but it didn't bump so much higher. Okay, now obviously the charts are telling us a different story when we're looking at the classical type of businesses that they are breaking down. Okay, so with that said, with this major event coming out today, just be careful. Whatever you decide to intraday trade, expect some volatility and just make sure you're using stop losses correctly. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.